Adachi Kiyoshi is lying in his room. He's 30 and still hasn't had anyone. Through it all, he's become a wizard. He can hear what people he touched are thinking. The subway was hell for him. Gloomy, he came to work. At the elevator line, Adachi met Kurosawa Yuyuichi. The man offered him to walk up the stairs. The guy decides to touch him to see what he thinks. What he heard surprised him. Kurosawa likes someone in the office, someone he has seen recently. The guy doesn't realize who it could be. In the elevator, Kurosawa was pushed onto Adachi. As they touched, the man was overwhelmed with thoughts of how much he likes the guy. Adachi can't believe it. He starts to think he's imagining things for himself. His boss comes up to him and scolds him. At the end of the day, Kurosawa brings him coffee. The guy hears his thoughts again, but he keeps telling himself it's a hallucination. The thoughts become more and more obscene and Adachi runs to the bathroom. He starts to realize it's real. The guy is worried that he will be molested. When he goes outside, Kurosawa throws a scarf over him. Adachi is amazed at how nice he is. He mentally apologizes for his fears. He thanks him for his help, and the man offers to buy him dinner in gratitude. Adachi is late for the last subway, and a colleague offers him a place to sleep. The guy is wary, so he decides to touch him to see if he has ulterior motives. But he misses and falls. Kurosawa gives him a hand. The guy can't hear any bad thoughts, so he agrees to spend the night at his house. He finds a manga in the apartment and says he likes it too. They agree on their tastes. Adachi goes to take a bath. Kurosawa hands him his pajama and thinks about how he bought it, thinking about the guy. Then Kurosawa went to take a bath. At that time, Adachi lay down on the futon. He couldn't sleep and heard a coworker approaching him. It turned out he wanted the phone lying next to him. They both think about each other and can't sleep. In the morning, Kurosawa made breakfast. Adachi really likes the way he cooks. At work, the boss scolds the guy again. Then he asks about yesterday's work, and the guy says that Kurosawa helped him. The boss calls him over and tells the guy to thank his coworker. He tells them about a restaurant nearby and gives a coupon. After work, they went there. The men had a good time. However, the coupon expired and Adachi didn't have enough money to pay. Kurosawa paid. The guy started to feel like he was taking advantage of a coworker. He withdraws the money, gives it to him, and runs away. Adachi goes to his friend Suge Masato and tells him everything. About the mind reading and about the coworker. Suge doesn't believe him, but he says that if it's like that, he can just take advantage of a lover's kindness. The guy doesn't want to do that. He asks for different advice. His friend tells him to sort out his feelings, and at the very least just try to make man dislike him. Adachi thanks him, but when he touches the guy, he finds out that he has no experience either. At work, the guy kept thinking about Kurosawa and accidentally imagined him trying to kiss him. He's ashamed of the way he ran away. Kurosawa has a problem with a customer. The whole department is worried. Adachi volunteered to bring them coffee and touched the customer. He found out he liked cakes and brought him one. The customer immediately got friendly and everything was resolved. The colleague thanked him. After work, they all went out for a drink. The company was playing king. The two have to kiss. Everyone insisted they do the task. Kurosawa kissed the guy on the forehead. Later, they crossed paths on the porch. Adachi stood next to him and listened to his thoughts. It upsets Kurosawa that he doesn't like guys. He's sorry he fell in love with him. The guy realized that he wouldn't mind if they kissed. The only problem is that he's never been kissed before. He tells the man about it. When Kurosawa hears this, he drops the water and stands there stunned. And the guy seems to be starting to realize his feelings. They got very close to each other. Kurosawa tried to say something, and abruptly the coworkers walked in. The restaurant is already closing. Adachi once again fails to make it home in time. Kurosawa offers to stay at his place again. But the man's thoughts scare the guy, and he refuses. He also says that he misunderstood him, and he didn't want to kiss. The next day at work, he couldn't find his place. However, the man behaved normally. When they touched, it turned out that he just didn't want Adachi to be uncomfortable, so he tries to act like everything is fine. The boy is once again amazed by his kindness. But after Kurosawa thought about making the guy fall in love with him, the employees gathered for karaoke. Kurosawa was surrounded by girls. Adachi was approached by Rikaku Yuyuda. He sat down next to him. Adachi heard his thoughts. As it turned out, the guy was not feeling well. His caring colleague handed him some medicine. He tried to take it with alcohol, but Adachi stopped him and gave him water. Kurosawa is watching them. He walked over to the guys and told Rikaku that the girls were interested in him. After pulling the guy away, he sat down with Adachi. He understood everything and was embarrassed. Adachi said that Rikaku was a good singer, and Kurosawa immediately volunteered to sing next. He did incredibly well. While they were sitting eating pizza, some girls came up to them. They wanted to sit next to men. Adachi accidentally touched one of them, heard that she despised him, and decided to go somewhere else. He bumped into Fujisaki Nozomi. The guy likes her. He would like a girl like that to fall in love with him. Rikaku jumped on him from behind. He had been drinking too much. In the hallway, Adachi saw men hitting on Fujisaki. The girl ran up to him and hid behind his back. He told them to leave her alone. A man grabbed his tie. Kurosawa came over and told him not to touch the guy. Both men were scared of him and ran away. The girl thanked them and left. When Adachi was grabbed by the tie, he was scratched a bit. Kurosawa put a band-aid on it. While he was doing that, the guy heard his thoughts. Kurosawa is afraid he's being too pushy and Adachi is getting distant. He's also jealous of him with the others. The guy thanked him for his help and suggested they go out for ice cream. The next day, the three of them with Rikaku went to the sauna. While the guys were steaming, all Kurosawa's thoughts were only about Adachi. He couldn't even look at him. He had only dated girls before, but he likes the guy a lot. After the sauna, the two went home together. Kurosawa took a picture of Adachi. The men were invited to dinner with the president of the company. The president makes the guy drink. Kurosawa decided to help him out and drank for him. A woman sat close to him and said she likes him. He got sick. The woman didn't like it. The others were angry at his behavior. Adachi is very worried about him. He considers himself guilty, for he drank for him. The guy told the man how much he admired him. Kurosawa was very embarrassed. Tears came out of his eyes. Tsuji was woken up by a cat sitting on him. He's a writer. Delivery guy came. Man doesn't like this one. When received the box, Tsuji found out he can hear guys' thoughts. He immediately remembered Adachi's story. The man had just turned 30 yesterday. Courier saw a cat and asked if he can pet it. The guy's name is Wataya Minato. The man touches him and hears his thoughts again. It turns out he had seen this cat on the street before. Minato is glad someone picked it up. The man begins to sympathize with the guy. The next day he kept thinking about him. Delivery guy came again with a package. The man invited him to come in to see the cat. The cat's name is Udon. Tsuji said that guy can come to see the cat from time to time. When Minato left, the man texted Adachi and asked him to meet. At the bar, guy tells him about Kurosawa. He noticed that his boring life started to take on a new color with his appearance. Tsuji couldn't dare tell him about his ability. On the street he found the power, but Adachi noticed Kurosawa with his ex-girlfriend. The guy lost his mood and went home. At work, Kurosawa was very sleepy. Adachi didn't show up for work. He got sick. The guy was hungry, but the fridge was empty. In his delirium, he remembered how he'd been rejected by girls all his life. Through this dream, he heard the doorbell. It was Kurosawa. He was worried about the guy. The man asked if there was food in the house and heard Adachi's stomach rumbling, so he quickly cooked something. Man asked if the guy had a fever, but he didn't have a thermometer. Kurosawa touched his forehead and said there is no temperature. Adachi doesn't understand why he cares about him with such a beautiful ex. Late at night, the man told the guy to go to the hospital and was about to leave, but noticed he was kind of red. Adachi said he was just embarrassed because no one has ever taken care of him and that he is a loser. Kurosawa said he is not a loser and will find a person he will love someday. The guy heard his thoughts. The man would like to be that person, and Adachi started to think that maybe he wouldn't mind. The guy wanted to say something to him, but Kurosawa's ex appeared. Turns out it's his sister. She tracked the brother on GPS. The girl had a fight with her boyfriend and asked to sleep over again. Brother refused, but she took out his keys and said that if he doesn't want to live with her, he could stay at his friend's house. Kurosawa immediately imagined himself with the guy living together and agreed. No one asked Adachi's opinion. The sister left. Kurosawa came to his senses and said he will go to the hotel. The guy didn't look good, so he dragged him to the bed. In the bed, the man wanted to start doing something, but managed to restrain himself. In the morning, Adachi felt better. Kurosawa was sleeping by the bed. The guy woke him up. On the way to work, they were pressed against each other. The man was glad for this outcome, and Adachi felt comfortable on the train for the first time since receiving the ability. He recognized that Kurosawa cared for him, but he needed time to think it over. Rikaku came over to Adachi, and the guy invited him to visit, as he was afraid to be alone with the man. The co-workers were eating takoyaki. Rikaku suggested they try them with hot sauce. Kurosawa agreed, but he can't really eat spicy things and just doesn't want to show weakness in front of Adachi. While the man was feeling sick, the guys got to talking. Rikaku used to be a dancer, but he had to quit because of work. When Adachi was washing dishes, Kurosawa came up to him. The guy told him that he had improved his opinion of Rikaku. The man became jealous. Rikaku stayed too long and was late for the last train. So all three of them slept in one house. They had a double bed and a double futon at their disposal. They couldn't decide who would be sleeping where. Kurosawa almost got to sleep with Adachi, but the guy said he didn't want to make him sick, so the man had to sleep with Rikaku. At work, Adachi was asked for help by Fujisaki. She touched him, and he heard that she likes him. He misunderstood her. She was thinking about how much Kurosawa likes him. She is very inspired by Yayoi. Adachi decided to touch once more and again misunderstood everything. He got very excited and started to think he was wrong about his feelings for the man. On the way home, he got too thoughtful and almost got hit by a car. Kurosawa took his hand and confessed his feelings. Adachi didn't know what to say. The man said he would go home today, and the guy didn't dare to stop him. The next day, Adachi learns that Kurosawa is leaving on a business trip. He runs into Fujisaki. The guy offers to help her with her job. He likes her, but he has the wrong opinion of the girl. When he comes into contact with her, he misunderstands her again. Adachi realizes it's better to date her, at least she's a girl. At this time, Kurosawa thinks about him. He regrets that he didn't hold back and confess. The colleagues are working. The guy is immersed in his memories. Suddenly, he gets up and runs to the man. When finds him, he apologizes for running away all the time and tells Kurosawa that he likes him too. They hug for a long time, all the while the guy can hear his thoughts. But it's time for the man to go on a business trip. When he came back to work, Adachi tried to act normal, but nothing worked. He also still thinks the girl likes him. Rikaku watches men suspiciously. He starts to suspect something. The guy thinks co-workers conspired to help him. Tsuji can't get the courier out of his mind. He orders a lot and begins to suspect he's in love. The guys cross paths on the street. Tsuji tries to think of something to stay together longer. They sit down on a bench and have a slightly awkward conversation. The guy is practicing dancing, but will probably have to quit. Tsuji tells him not to doubt himself and not to give up what he loves. Minato has to go to practice, so he leaves. Adachi is very tired at work because of the stress. He gets a call from Kurosawa. The man suggests going out this weekend. The guy agreed, and he is crazy about his voice. Kurosawa is happy that they will finally go on a date. Adachi overslept. He has a date with Kurosawa today. He's sorry for being late. The man consoled him. They decided to go to a clothing store. Kurosawa was very happy when Adachi found out what he was thinking, said that changed his mind. But when he saw the man's discouragement, he changed his mind again. Kurosawa took him to a very expensive store. They chose a jacket, and while the guy was looking at the price, Kurosawa went to pay. Adachi stopped him and paid himself. The couple was having a good time. The girls saw Kurosawa and wanted to take his number, but suspected that the guys were dating. It bothered Adachi, and he became sad. Kurosawa dragged him to the helicopter for a walk. The guy didn't like the idea, but casually agreed. Flying was scary. He tried not to show it, but he couldn't take it. Adachi felt bad, and they decided to head home. The guy blamed himself the whole way and thought that Kurosawa was disappointed in him. However, when he touched the man, he found out that he also blamed himself. They apologized to each other. Adachi was sorry that Kurosawa was so upset and worried. That's why he decided to make things right next time. The next day at work, Kurosawa was very depressed. But when Adachi came in, he cheered up immediately. The guy asked him out on another date. In the evening, they went to a manga store and had a good time. Adachi said that he really enjoyed it, and yesterday he was just afraid of what people would think. He appreciates Kurosawa's efforts, but he wants the man to have fun too. And they went to the manga store because the guy doesn't know what other interests they have in common. Adachi almost fell and Kurosawa caught him. The guy took his hand. The man had so many thoughts that he couldn't understand what he was thinking. Even accidentally answered one of them. He convinced Kurosawa that he was thinking out loud. But the man began to suspect something. It's been a month since the date. Adachi thinks about telling Kurosawa about mind reading, but can't decide. Colleagues are looking for people to test new simulators. Kurosawa's birthday is coming up. The guy can't think of anything to give, so he decides to use mind reading. As it turns out, the man lost his headphones. Tsuji takes pictures of Minato at a performance. He was provoked by a man and decided to try to dance too. It didn't work out. Minato liked the photos. He hasn't been photographed yet, since he's not the main dancer. The guy thanked him for his advice not to quit dancing. Tsuji texted Adachi and asked if he knew anyone athletic. Kurosawa's birthday has arrived. Adachi handed him a present. The man was overjoyed. The test of the exercise equipment came. Tsuji asked Adachi to talk to him in his spare moment. There was tension between Tsuji and Kurosawa, so the guy decided to introduce them. As it turned out, Minato was familiar with Rokaku. They had danced together at university. Adachi and Tsuji came into contact and communicated through thoughts. The guy was surprised. The friend told him about his ability. Kurosawa was watching them. He thought Tsuji had fallen in love with the guy. In fact, he told him that he had fallen in love with Minato and was afraid to admit his feelings to him. Adachi thought about the fact that he was afraid to confess to the man too. When they were coming back, Kurosawa dragged the guy into the back room. When they came in contact, Adachi learned about jealousy and started to make excuses. The man didn't notice he was reading his mind, but asked if he was hiding anything. The guy is afraid that if he tells, they won't be able to be together. But he decided to confess. Kurosawa didn't believe him at first, but he proved in practice that he was telling the truth. Adachi said that he knew he loved him from the beginning and was afraid at first, but eventually fell in love. The man was embarrassed, but accepted it and said he was glad the guy found out about his feelings. Then he took him by the hand and kissed. Kurosawa couldn't stop, but Adachi pushed him away. The boy was too nervous. The man also guessed why he gave the headphones and said the most wanted gift was a kiss. Tsuji thinks something had happened between Minato and Rokaku in the past. He read the guy's mind and found out that they had a fight because Rokaku left the dancing. Asahina praised the employee. Adachi helped him a lot by creating a handy form. The two returned and began to help. Rokaku noticed that Minato forgot the gift bag. The dancer was jealous that his former friend had a good job. Tsuji had a similar thing when his books weren't selling yet, and Adachi had a job. He advised to appreciate friends from the past. Rokaku caught up with them and handed Minato his gift. Minato invited him to come and dance sometimes. Afterward, he thanked the man for the advice. The bosses are talking about Adachi's progress. They are thinking of sending him to work in a new branch. Kurosawa started often touching the guy and talking to him with his thoughts. They're going to a concert today. The bosses called Adachi over. The guy thought he and Kurosawa had been discovered, but he's offered to move in with very good conditions. He doesn't know whether to accept. He doesn't want to leave the man. Because of a bunch of thoughts, he did the wrong paperwork and stayed late at work. The concert will have to be missed. Adachi felt bad since Kurosawa waited a long time for them to go. Asahina came in. The next morning, the guy wasn't in his place. Asahina told Kurosawa that Adachi had asked him yesterday how to refuse the transfer. Kurosawa texted him and offered to talk to him after work. The man asked about refusing to transfer and why he was making such important decisions on his own. This is a very good chance for the guy. He said he wouldn't leave him because of the distance and was upset that Adachi doesn't tell him anything. Minato brought Tsuji a package and told him that he had seen his novels in a bookstore. He didn't know the man wrote novels. He read one book and liked it. Minato has an important casting tomorrow. Tsuji wished him good luck. Adachi has been up all night. He could still hear Kurosawa's voice in his head. Since it was his day off, he went to Tsuji for advice. The man said the guy was 100% at fault and he would be hurt too. Adachi admitted his guilt. He realized that he shouldn't rely on mind reading, and it's better to tell his partner how he feels. He wanted to write Kurosawa a message, but Tsuji stopped him. Minato tried hard at the audition. The judge said he didn't pass, but there will be another chance if he wins the vote after the concert. Minato was disappointed and thought about quitting dancing. Rokaku tried to cheer him up. Later, friend called the guy and offered him a job in an office. He doesn't know if he'll take it yet. He has the most important concert tonight. Tsuji was going to come to watch, but Minato called him and told that his moped had broken, so he wouldn't be able to perform. He resigned himself since he still didn't believe in his abilities. Tsuji said not to say anything stupid and to send geolocation. He took the guy on a motorcycle and said he believes his dream would come true if he won't give up. Minato made it to the concert and was very inspired by the man's words. He amazed everybody and got another chance. His friends congratulated him. Tsuji was waiting for the guy outside. Minato asked why he was so kind to him. The man replied that he had an ulterior motive. Jury called Minato, and they decided to postpone the conversation. Tsuji later found out that the guy had failed. Adachi mentally rehearses speech. He and Kurosawa had missed each other. The man was worried about what happened. At home, Tsuji is very worried about Minato. He doesn't respond to messages. Another delivery guy came to him, and he decided to ask him about the guy, but he got no answer. The man started to worry that he had scared Minato with his words about an ulterior motive. That evening, he saw the news. The boy had made his debut with the rookie group. Tsuji was happy for him, but thought they would never meet again. Adachi went on a business trip for 10 days. Kurosawa was pretty depressed. He was waiting for a message from the guy. He regretted what he did. He shouldn't have told Adachi what to do. He was scared that would be abandoned. Kurosawa received a letter from Adachi. The guy decided that a chat message wasn't serious. In the letter, he apologized and wrote about all the worries, how uneasy he feels thinking about the distance. The letter was Asuji's idea. At this time, Adachi was very inspired by the potential of the company's new Nagasaki branch. Tsuji decided to turn his unrequited feelings into a novel, but it didn't work out. Some fan left Minato new sneakers after the concert. The guy asked who it was. Manager described Tsuji. Minato ran. The man was on his way out, but the guy called him. He found out where he was and came running. He apologized for not writing. He was very busy, and the debut was forbidden to tell. But then he decided to confess. It was actually because the man said about an ulterior motive. He didn't know if it was a joke, and he couldn't realize his own feelings. Tsuji admitted that he wanted him to like him. The character in his last book is inspired by him, but no one compares to the real Minato. The guy said he thought Tsuji was weird at first, but he's been there for him through all the hard times, and he doesn't want to lose him. The man hugged the guy. At the end of the day, Adachi arrived at the hotel and saw a soaked Kurosawa outside. The guy took the man into the room and sent him to the bathroom, but he didn't want to go. Kurosawa could not bear it. He wants Adachi to repeat in life the words from the letter. He wished he had the ability to read minds. When the guy heard that, he started to say out loud what he was thinking. About how handsome Kurosawa is, how much he loves him, and many other things. The man couldn't stand it. He was overwhelmed with emotion. Adachi kissed him. They spent the whole night in bed together. In the morning, Adachi was dying of embarrassment. He had heard all the man's thoughts during the process. However, now he found that his ability was gone. He was confused, but Kurosawa reassured him. The man was grateful for the boy's magic, but he liked him without it. Adachi wasn't sorry they did it, and he lost his ability either. He realized he lost his power because now everything is fine without it. Kurosawa started crying. He can't be perfect with his boyfriend, but that makes him feel better. Because he was loved for who he is. It's time for Kurosawa to go back. When Adachi arrived from his business trip, he went straight to the man's house. They ate, and the guy said he'd decided to agree to move. He was excited about the idea of getting involved in the new branch. Kurosawa supported him. They will be in a long-distance relationship for a year. The boss was pleased with Adachi's choice. Tsuji helped him pack his things. The man touched him and found out about the guy's loss of ability. He decided not to ask how it happened. It had been a month since the move. Adachi was having a lot of problems at work. Kurosawa caught a cold. Fujisaki decided it was because he was worried about the guy. Adachi is very tired. He misses Kurosawa. They were both uneasy about the distance. They were worried about each other. Adachi couldn't stand it, so he took off work to fly to Kurosawa's place. They met at the airport. The man was about to fly to his boyfriend's place. Adachi told him about his feelings, his worries, and that he wants to move in with Kurosawa when his job is over. The man was overjoyed. He showed the guy the rings, and they put them on each other. A year passed. Minato lives with Tsuji, and Adachi goes back to his old job and lives with Kurosawa. They got married. Everyone was very happy for them. It was a great anime. I really enjoyed watching it, and I hope you did too. Thank you all, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss new videos.